Hello and welcome back to the Solaris Offworld Combat Community Podcast, your source for Solaris tips, news, strategies, guides, Discord, chatter, and so much more. Today we've got a big episode for you. We've got a new co-host joining us. We've got update to talk about. We've got community stuff to talk about. We have got Rising Stars tournament. We got a new game coming out as a possible competition. All that and more coming up. Still trying to work out the kinks of how to start this thing. Last week I had a difference between my headphones. These are noise canceling, and I got a new internet mic that Wire recommended, and I had my noise canceled on here, and so the whole podcast I was talking too loud, because I couldn't hear my voice.
Yeah.
So I had to, so in the post-editing process, I had to go through and I had to shrink down my voice a whole bunch. So if you listen to last week's podcast and you're like, why is this guy talking so loud? It's because I couldn't hear myself. So I think that's fixed this week. So bear with us. So,
yeah.
So anyway, all right, well, let's get started. I am joined here this week back again by Jay Greasy 95. Big Yellow Bus 67, and we got our new co-host joining us this week. His name is Sonarbat. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Sonarbat here. Real name's Jacob. So I grew up in Iowa. I moved to California when I was 17, lived there for like 7 years. And then I moved to Oregon, joined the Navy from there. I got sent back to California for school, and then they shipped me out to Florida. So I am now in Florida. And I started playing Solaris right when it came out, pretty much. And I just really like it because it's just a very instinctual game. You don't have to think, you can just turn the corner and shoot. And that's, I feel like something I've always been better at. I played Unreal Tournament once and was apparently really good at it, even though I had no idea. But someone just said that when I was done. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I never played it again. But so I guess it's kind of, I compare it to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. What do you, what team are you on?
Deranged Ducks.
Okay. The Deranged Duck represent. Okay. I hear you. All right.
I think I'm actually playing you later today in a little stream.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't know who we were playing. I was on duty yesterday, so I wasn't around.
Okay. All right. Well, it's about to go down. It's about to go down this afternoon then, huh? Okay. Good to know. All right. Greasy, how are you, man? What have you been up to?
I'm good, man. I'll be honest, this week I haven't been in-game all that much. Solaris, at least, been playing a lot of Catan. It's been taking a good chunk of my time. But when I'm not playing Catan, really just kind of been watching TV and stuff. The update has been good for some things, but I find if I'm trying to go in and really go in like a full squad, me and my team to get some practice in, it's just impossible to get another 4 people on the other side. So I'll jump in occasionally just solo, just go get some target practice in, have a good time. But as of right now, it's pretty much impossible to do 4v4 unless you're planning it out like we are later, Sonar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You really, we'll talk more later about that, but yeah, you really do have to plan these ahead. And in fact, I'm on the US Mad Reapers, and we played you Null last Monday, and you guys slapped us so hard that after the game, we all quit the app and played something else. So,
well, I actually got some footage of that, and I had an idea that maybe I'd put together a T-Baggins compilation of me just blowing your face off, but decided to not do that for this week.
Oh man, that'd be funny. Anytime you want to do that, I just remember I was just going freaking greasy every time you. So
it was a fun matchup though, but that's what I'm saying, right? So like 4v4 at this point, even if there were a few games that were a little bit lopsided there, even in that case, when you are playing 4v4, it's still more fun to me than playing like a 4v1 and getting the same outcome. Like you're looking for that constant interaction with other players along different parts of the map. And kind of talking about the map there, I mean, the smaller matchups like the 2v2, let's say, do work on something like a Vortex Minor or a Fury 451 maybe, or Fury Major, just one of the smaller ones. But when you get that Vortex Major, I know that they took out Prime at this point, which is pretty good, but when you get that Vortex Major, really is kind of the main one I'm thinking of here. It's hard to find those other people on the map unless you are kind of rushing the point there. So,
Right.
yeah, but like you said, we'll get into that later, but just a little bit of a tangent there.
Well, in one other quick point is that is we actually tied one match, and all right,
Yeah, we did.
FCE, I got to tell you, I know you've got some UK players and stuff, but I'm in America and we don't do ties here, so we got to figure something out. I'm not trying to tie. Listen, that's like, oh man, so we got to have
That
sudden
was
death or
wild.
something.
Yeah,
Some
that was
sort of.
wild.
It was fun. We had a good time. We got like I said, you guys slapped us pretty hard, but we're still growing as a team. We haven't played much together, but anyways,
Yeah,
we did have fun. So hey, Bus, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Nothing going on. Just sitting around.
Okay. How have you been playing Solaris much this past week?
Not really. Just update, not being able to find lobbies and sitting with small children. Except for last night, I got thrown into a match just with FX, and it was him having me test all these bugs out because apparently I'm really good at finding all the bugs. So I sat there for about 20 minutes shooting all the grenades he shot, trying to see if they explode. And we were just going back and forth whether I shot them and they exploded or not.
Nice. You're the official bug tester now. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like, and I'm kind of in the same boat. It sounds like where most of the sort of like long-term players have gravitated more towards like set scheduled times to play, just because we're getting some frustrations with the random matchmaking and the trying to, go in and get a full lobby. So it sounds like that seems to be fairly common. I'm seeing less on the Discord. I'm seeing less people posting in the looking for match, because it seems like more people are.
Yeah, like one thing about that too is if you do post looking for match, there's a really good chance by the time somebody like gets the headset on and goes in, like you'll be playing like a 3v1 or like a 2v2. So like I understand why the looking for match hasn't really been there much. One other thing that I also understand as somebody who's been here since day one is that at this point, if you're not doing squad v squad, what more is there for you to really do in the game at this point once you complete that weekly challenge, right? So you go in, you're level 50, sure, you can go and just play, just have fun for a few hours, but there's no level of progression at all, none. So I do think with the lobby issue the way there is now, there needs to be some just additional incentive to keep coming back and getting into quality matches, because right now, like Bus was saying, you're going into these games, nothing against the younger generation here, but it's really pretty trying to just sit in a lobby and just get screeched at for 15-20 minutes if you try and put in multiple games. So the mute button is another thing which I think would help in this situation. So there's like a lot of pieces that once it all comes together, it'll be great. I see what this can be. But right now I'd say it's very much a work in progress. And while we kind of went one step forward with this update where you do have that warm up, and you can get into matches with less than 8 people for those off peak times, it feels kind of like we went 2 steps backward as well. Just really the life in the community for the game has kind of been sucked out in this past week or two. I do find much more often, I said I was going to play Catan. People are just going to play other games, but they are still playing it together as a community. So I guess that's one positive going forward here, is that there has been a pretty good community that has been established thus far. And we don't want to see that go away. We all kind of want this game to succeed and end up meeting up in real life to, maybe play together one day for a tournament or something like that. But the way the game is right now, we are, miles away from that point. And my biggest fear is that, I saw the game was on sale this past week. So you are getting all these new players in. And I guess at this time, because the level 50s aren't playing, they are getting, maybe some good even matches like that. But they are also probably seeing some of the drawbacks, and I am just a little worried that they may not stick around. But
Yeah, that's for sure. How do you? That was a greasy. That was a perfect segue into the next current state of the game. That was almost like it was planned. Nice. Sonar, how have you? What's your experience been with the update?
Well, in my opinion, they should have made the lobbying like many other games, like Among Us, for example, where you can choose your lobby based on the amount of players or whatever. That would completely skirt the issue of, well, I don't want to play with 2v2 right now. I'd rather do 4v4, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still enjoy the game, but I really didn't expect a game to be unbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that coming at all, but that seems to happen pretty often. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I've actually been I've been able to jump in with new players. Actually, I've seen a lot of new players in the past week, and they when I try to pick their brains a little bit, they've been telling me that they enjoy the fast matches. So I wonder if, and I had to do some more digging and more anecdotal evidence searching, but I wonder if the folks that are having the most problems with the uneven matches are the longtime veteran players, because the new players are probably just excited to get in and play. But for us, the ones that have been playing for a while, we're more frustrated about it because we don't want to play 3v1s or 2v, and so there's more digging that needs to happen. But I guess the question to ask each person here is: would you rather have faster matches or wait for 4v4? What do you think, Bus? Would you rather have our fast matches with in a real good chance you're not getting 4v4, or would you rather wait until you get all 8 people?
I don't know, because I liked the full team experience that was with 4v4. Because like, oh, you get to sit here for a while, but you get to learn about your teammates more. Like, oh, this is like how they just play the game. But with the fast matches, it just feels very unfair sometimes. Like, I'll be with some friends just randomly, and then all of a sudden, one newbie jumps on the other side, and it'll immediately start, and it's just like, oh, we feel bad, so we try and end it quickly without killing them as much. Just let them experience the game.
One thing I think for that question is it really shouldn't be one or the other. Like the way it is right now, it's kind of a conflict of systems. So we all wanted the squad system to be able to play with our friends. They added that. That was great. However, with this new update, they really kind of took the ability to do that successfully out of the game. Just the way that they have this matchmaking setup. Because if you do go in with a full squad of 4 people, it is almost impossible to get 4 people on the other side. Just the way the game is right now, population levels, and so on. So I think that where I sit, I would rather the full teams, the 4v4, to get the real experience there. But I think it should be constrained to maybe like off-peak times. I don't know how they would necessarily do that. Maybe they look on their database. They're like, okay, there's X number of people online right now. We're gonna have games start with less than 8 people. But for something like a Friday or Saturday night, some prime time hour, I guess, I don't mind waiting 5 extra minutes to get like a really good matchup here. So again, I know it's difficult to really have a dynamic system like that, but I don't think it needs to necessarily be one or the other. And I do know that once this comes out on PSVR, or I hope at the very least, we won't have any of these issues at all, because the population numbers should be so high. So that's kind of something where I know we're making a big deal about it right now. I'm hoping that by the time it comes out, which should be in the next few months, barring any other news from FCE, that we will see this kind of progress into a better state.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because we're in this awkward period where it's clear that they're putting all their ducks in a row to make a successful PSVR launch. They have a loyal community already from Firewall 0 Hour that I think they're going to be leaning on there's going to be a population influx. So they're probably thinking, yeah, what you just said, that'll solve all these problems. So we're kind of stuck in the middle here. And I think what they did with the faster games was, while new people come in, at least they're getting to play. And that doesn't sit well with some of the players that want to play 4v4. But I guess it's like when you have so say you're a brand new player, say you just bought it on discount, right? Or whatever, and you never get into a game because you're staying and waiting, and they leave. It's almost like I just think same thing. I hope that, and I'm thinking that PSVR Influx community comes in and boom, population numbers rise. And we're not even talking about this in 2 months. We're more focused on still getting sniped by the shotgun, which I still have been getting sniped by the shotgun.
It definitely is weaker though, because like I had a few from a distance where I remember I would be able to get 2 hits, they'd be dead, and it took me I think like 4 or 5 this time. So it seems like they have added a drop off, but if you are injured, let's say from somebody else kind of shooting you, you can absolutely get cleared out on the other side of the map by the shotgun.
Okay.
It just doesn't.
I'd be hit on the other side of Vortex.
Yes.
On the second floor, and that's quite a distance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That hasn't happened to me anymore, where I'm like full health and I just get 2 hit from that distance. But I do find, as would make sense, like having 1 hit point or 2 hit points left, and then maybe just getting hit by it. That makes sense. Like I'm not mad about that. I think in terms of the major issues there, they did greatly improve it. Is it still a very OP weapon? Absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know what the real solution there is, but it's a small improvement in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I want to, so I kind of realized that I am on the podcast. I am the resident noob because I've still only been playing I went on the Oculus store and I was looking at the reviews for the game just to I always like to check them about once a week. I check and I sort by newest to see what people are saying, just to see, kind of get a feel for the outside community. And of course I saw my old interview and it said like 30 days ago. So I've only been playing for a month. And because I got slapped so hard by Noel last week, I wanted to ask each of you, what are some of your more advanced tips you could offer for someone who's not yet level 50, maybe a newer player? And of course, we know all the basic tips, but what are some of the more off the sort of like maybe out of the box tips, or just maybe unknown tips that you could have for someone like me or someone that's just stepping in to Solaris? What are some gameplay tips you could start with? And let's start with Bus this time.
I'd say slide stopping, where you're able to stop your slide mid-slide, is really good to know, just so you don't like slide full force into the other team. Okay. Or you can just stop and like shoot him in the head with the shotgun once.
How do we do that, Bus?
Yes.
I don't know. For me, I had to just like flick my wrist just a little bit and I'll stop. But I've heard other people that have got to like turn like 45 degrees a bit just to stop. But for me, I just kind of flick my wrist and I'll stop.
Okay. All right. What do you got, Bat?
So recently I've realized that I haven't been moving mid-slide, which is something you can do. You can alter the course of your slide. And so I've started doing that. So that's a little bit of an advanced tip, because normally you're not really thinking about that. But if someone starts shooting at you while you're sliding, some of these champions can easily kill you while you're sliding. Mm-hmm. So if you're moving around, that's going to help a lot.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't think of that either. Interesting. Okay, what about you, Greasy?
I guess one tip I have that I'm still trying to improve on, honestly, because I've seen that it can be useful, is really using those shields that you place down and using them efficiently. I'm not great at it. Molo, if you guys have played against him, is a wizard with the shields there. I guess one thing that I've gotten somewhat good at is placing it down. It'll draw the attention of like, let's say they have a rocket launcher or something. You'll place the shield down. A lot of times, I know I do this also, they'll shoot the shield, and then what you can do while they're doing that, slide to the side of it, pop up, and then shoot them there. So that's one tip. I guess another utility tool with the mines. You can put them on the roof, which is a good tip as well, because a lot of times people aren't looking up. They're more looking straight or down to see if there's any mines down there. So if you put them on like a tunnel up on the roof, they'll just be walking and you'll blow them up.
Huh.
So it's another.
Yeah, that's good.
tip.
Yeah. So I think the shield one's good too, because like, so for me, and I think the most like obvious way to use a shield is to block off an entry point. But I think we forget, like, you can put them up and actually shoot from behind cover. So like using the shield in multiple ways, using the landmines in multiple ways. And this is going to be a real quick one. Two-part question, rapid fire answer. Do you play sitting up or standing down? And do you ever use your offhand to stabilize anything? Bus.
I would play both depending on where I am. I'll play standing or sitting.
Any differences in how you play?
Yes, because standing up, I'm like all over my room hitting stuff. But sitting down, I'm more like relying on my controller movement to help me like turn and stuff.
Okay, all right. What about you, Sonar?
So I play both, but I've noticed that if I'm sitting, I can use my leg as a stabilizer for my right controller, and therefore get easier head alignment, right? However, you are going to have to use your controller to turn more, but that might not be a disadvantage necessarily, because you're going to want to get good at practicing that, because if you combine using the controller and physical turning, that's faster, right? But you do turn faster in general standing up.
Okay. Yeah. All right. How about you, Greasy?
Exclusively standing up for me. The only time I'll sit down is if I'm, in one of these new warm-ups and, don't want to start moving around, and if I'm waiting in between matches. But I guess in terms of holding the gun, again, still something I'm working to improve on. I've tried a couple different methods. I got like a gun stock, and I tried that. While it's good for that far shot, like across a map, to really keep that accuracy in one place, I do find it difficult to have these close one-on-one battles with it, because I feel like it's going into my shoulder when I need to like pull it back and do that and turn around quickly. So I don't really use that all that much. One thing I'll try and do is maybe like hold the gun like on my chest here and turn like that. And then I guess the last thing I'm working with is kind of holding it like that. So you'll hold the left one like this, and so to give it like a little bit of stabilization. But nothing I do is really super consistent. It's just kind of however I'm feeling in the game. Is my hand a little shaky? Do I need a little bit of like support? But that is something. If anybody has any great tips, I'd love to talk to Yuji and have him come on here. How are you holding that?
We'll get him on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'd say find your own method there, whatever works for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for those tips. If you have any tips, if you're listening and you have any other tips, drop them in the comments down below. Let's get a conversation started. The last episode, I think, is sitting at like 28 comments. So just keep those comments coming. That way the YouTube algorithm finds us when someone types in Solaris Offworld Combat. People can find out more about information about the game. So if you're watching this, even if you just want to spam some emojis in the comment section, it really does help us out. So spam some fire or whatever, or some little play guns or whatever they have. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment. So now we're on Discord happening. So here at the Solaris Offworld Combat Discord, we have a community Discord ran by the community, and it's a wonderful place to hang out, because you can find matches, you can join a team, you can schedule round robin matches, but more than that too, we have Friday night fun, we have different games that are being played, we have just general hangout time where people are just talking about different things. And my quick story that I'm probably going to tell way too much is I bought Solaris when it was in a duo pack with Sorrento or something. I jumped on, waited forever for a match, got slapped by 450s, and I said, I hate this game, and I went to refund it. But turns out in Oculus, you cannot refund a bundle. Or an individual game in a bundle, so whatever. So anyways, later on, I gave it a second try. Someone in my game, I believe it was Yuji actually, invited me to the Discord, and now we're doing a podcast. So that's how powerful the community Discord is. It's a great place to hang out. And there's some cool stuff going on right now. If you're a new player and you want to get good, we have the place for you. It's the Rising Stars tournament. And what we're doing is we're pairing new players with veteran players. The veteran player will be your coach, all leading up until a tournament, which is called the Rising Stars Tournament. So if you're interested in that, head over to our Discord, and there's a channel all about it. We'll have the links in the description below. Just get yourself hooked up with a veteran who can teach you the ropes. Really excited to be doing that. This week, the Discord actually hit over 250 members, so we're growing steadily. It was under 200 when I joined, so we're continuing to grow. So really, really cool things. The other thing is how to use Discord to find a match. So there is a channel looking for a match, and again, we talked about how people might not see it all the time, but if you want to let people know you're in and say, "Hey guys, I'm on. If anyone wants to join up," it's a good place to connect and to let people know that you're on and ready to squad up or ready to play. So, all right, Bus, do you have anything for Friday Night Fun this week?
I've only got 2 pictures because the videos I captured had no audio, and it was kind of
That's all right.
boring because it was all about the jokes we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 pictures I have is just Psychopath as his usual donut outfit during Murder Mystery, and he's just standing out in a window very creepily. And then the second picture is with Dazzla holding a gun through the window.
Okay, very nice. Now, can I find those on the Discord?
Yes.
All right, I'll pull those and put them on. What I want you guys to do this Friday or some Friday in the future, when you're all playing your game, I want you to gather around, kind of like Simon's Circle or whatever you guys do, and I want you to come up with a theme song for Friday Night Fun. I want you guys to like sing and come up with a theme song that we can use to introduce this segment each week. So come up with something, even it doesn't matter how cheesy it is. I think that would be really fun to have like a Friday Night Fun theme song intro. So start working on that with the people. I'll post that in the Discord so you guys can get working on it. All right. So yeah, if you like this game, if you even like this game a little bit and want to go deeper, we've got official teams. Some of the teams, like I said, have got team merch already. Like it's really happening. A lot of people on the Discord treat this game like their competitive hobby. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you want to get good at the game, if you want to play competitively or just for fun, head over to the Discord and join us. We'd love to have you. Okay, now it's time for our community Q&A. And I did get some questions submitted this week, but the first thing I want to talk about, and maybe only we'll get to this one question because I think it is huge and it is relevant. There is a new game coming out. It's new to Quest official, but it's been on Side Quest for quite some time. It's coming out in February, and the name of the game is Hyperdash. I've been hearing a lot of chatter online about Hyperdash and about its potential to be a competitor to Solaris and what the implications might be for that. So I want to just get your all opinion on the topic. If you don't have an opinion on it, or if you've played it or not played it, I just want to kind of talk about it and maybe what it might mean for our community and the VR community in general. So Greasy, you actually said that you had played it before. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I checked this one out on SideQuest before. Have it on my headset right now. I guess my thoughts on it are it's a pretty good game. I do think this will be some level of competition, but they are different styles of games. So for Hyperdash, a few things about it. One thing just off the bat that I'm not sure if they will keep when it goes official on Quest, but that they had at least for the alpha and beta was, like you were saying, Sonarbat, that ability to see the servers. They just kind of have like a screen. You can select which server you want to go in, so you can see, all right, this is a 7 out of 8. Let me hop in here and we'll immediately get going. This one's only 3 people. Maybe me and a friend will hop in and we'll get close. So that I do think is good off the bat. They do also have them based on locations, like US East, West. So you can see where the lowest latency is. But I guess into the gameplay aspect of it, there's a few different modes. So Solaris right now, there's only one, that hard point capture and kill to defend type game mode. Hyperdash, I think they have that as well, but they have several other modes as well. They have a free-for-all mode. They also have a domination style game where I think there's 3 flags, and then you need to capture all of them to get more points, and then kill people. Team deathmatch, just the most kills. And one other aspect of the game is they do have dual wielding, so you can have a pistol in each hand, which I know is something that a ton of people have asked for from Solaris, but I don't Like I haven't gotten confirmation, but I do not think will be happening there because of the aim controller on PSVR. So
Right.
I think that with Hyperdash, there is an entry into this sci-fi FPS market that is still pretty fresh. There isn't like a dominant player at this point, in my opinion, even though I love Solaris and I want it to be that dominant player. Given all of the issues that we've listed thus far, it's just not quite there yet. So I do think having this come officially on the Quest, seeing that splash on the store, the banner, you'll probably get a ton of people signing up to go and play it. And I am a little bit worried here that we may have some people go and not come back. But I will just say they are completely different styles of gameplay. You may have the same modes, but when you are actually playing it, the one thing I love about Solaris is that sprint and slide feature. That is arguably my favorite mechanic of the game. Keeps it fast, keeps it quick. Hyperdash does not have that. Instead, as the name would suggest, you dash places. So think of old, or just think of In Death Unchained when you're putting an arrow and you dash over there instead of like shooting something. You move the analog stick and it comes up that parabola thing, and then you move. So you can, I think, just move like with the analog stick, like slowly around, but your main method of transportation is that dashing. So that provides for an interesting type of gameplay. It's similarly fast paced, but it is a different feel because you aren't, physically sliding. You are kind of just teleporting, if you will, or dashing from point A to point B. So I think it's a good game. I think it will have a pretty solid start, and Solaris will need to stay competitive and update to hang with it, in my opinion.
Okay, awesome. Bus or Sonar, do either one of you guys have any opinions on this?
Bus?
Not really. I haven't really seen much about it.
Okay. What about you, Sonar?
Okay, I've seen it, and from my opinions, it looks like a clunkier version of Solaris a little bit.
Yep.
Just because they chose that teleportation style of movement.
And the graphics, I think, are not
too
outstanding. But in terms of aesthetics, I still think Solaris definitely wins there. I think it's a cooler looking game. The multiple play styles and the dual wielding aspect may have some other people excited there. So I think there's a type of person that will certainly like both. I'll probably play both, but there will be people who they've asked for the dual wielding. They've asked for like a lot of stuff from FCE, and that they can just go get it with this other game. So it'll be something to watch over the next few weeks here once it releases.
Yeah, it's going to be the shiny new thing, and I do wonder. I wonder if this will hemorrhage some of the Solaris community, or can it coexist just like Population 1? I know there's a lot of Solaris players that play Pop 1 and vice versa, and so like if they're different enough, maybe you want to jump on Solaris one night and you have your Solaris team, your Solaris squad, and then maybe you play Hyperdash just for fun. Maybe it's fun. Maybe it's like you said, if you can choose your own server, maybe you can just jump in and play a few matches. It's so some of these games can coexist, I think, and I think too. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I've seen quite a few videos on it, and just from the videos, and VR is weird because you have to experience it to really get a full view of it. Like it's not just a YouTube video never does a game justice ever. But when I saw the videos, I have SideQuest and I have installed games from SideQuest. I just haven't been interested in it because I saw the aesthetics. I'm like, man, okay, it looks cool, but you teleport, you ride on that rail thing. It's like I already have my shooter, and I'm the type of guy who like I am loyal. Like I do Apple products. Like it's Sony, like I pick my thing and I stick to it. So it's like, for me, it's going to be Solaris. I probably won't even try Hyperdash. But I could see this, hopefully it's something that can coexist like many, many other games. And the thing is especially with Oculus, there's not that many games. I mean, there's a decent amount, but we all play a lot of the same games. Like you mentioned In Death Unchained. I love that game. I play it all the time. So it's like, you can play more than one game, especially when you can't really have 8-hour gaming sessions on one game in a headset, although some have done it. I find myself playing for like an hour at a time, which lends itself to jumping around from game to game. So I think they can coexist, but we'll just see. The good thing is this is capitalism, so competition makes people better. So Solaris, Hyperdash comes on and starts getting good numbers and people download it, and it's just going to incentivize FCE to keep adapting and iterating and making their game better. And competition is good for everybody. So I have hope that it's going to be good for our community too. So we will definitely see. Okay, one more thing I wanted to talk about is some community questions. I wanted to just answer one important one. Let me just find it quick. Okay, this is the big question that we're gonna ask right now. So when people are going to be so many people, different ages, different income levels, different situations in life, they are trying to purchase a new game, and they may have a set amount to spend. Okay, I've got $30 to spend on a game, and they come on the Oculus store and they're sorting by different stuff, and they may come in between. Oh, Population 1, Hyperdash, Solaris, that they may be looking and trying to narrow it down. So my question that I want each of us to answer is, why should they buy Solaris? What is it about Solaris? Is it worth it, I guess? Because someone's going to go on YouTube and go, is Solaris worth it, right? So let's answer that question. Is Solaris worth it, in your opinion? If you're buying it right now today, would you buy the game? Bus, what do you think?
Yes. It's just a great game with an even better community. And most of those videos you'll look up on YouTube, like, oh, is Solaris worth it? They do it no justice. They like, oh, this game's terrible. Look at the movement. Look how bad it is. It's like, this is like, it does no justice to the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of of the videos that were made at launch, and a lot of the things that were problems at launch have been addressed. They've got its current problems, but if you haven't looked at Solaris in 4 months, and if you were interested at launch, then it's probably time to look at it again. What do you think, Bat?
I would definitely choose Solaris again, just because all these problems that we were talking about earlier are kind of us problems. Because if I was like a noob again, I don't think the squatting issue would really be an issue for me. You know what I mean? Because if it's like 2 noobs against 1 noob, I mean, the margin of skill is much smaller there, especially if they're like a natural. You know what I mean? That one guy could still beat those 2 guys. So, yeah, I would still choose Solaris. It's definitely a great game, especially for newer people.
Yeah, and you raised a good point, which is, FCE has to balance 2 things. They have to balance appeasing their hardcore community, but they also have to focus on new player acquisition, because that's how they make money. There's no microtransactions. You can't buy skins, so they're not getting any more money from me, right? At least right now. And so they have to also focus on, how do I entice new players to get in? And so that's a good question. How many of these problems that we have are because we've been playing for so long, And so, and like we said earlier, a lot of the problems we have will hopefully be ironed out with the PSVR release. And so I would say, if you are into like first person shooters, and you're getting tired of games being so focused on loot and loadouts, and if you're getting tired of battle royales, and you're just wanting something simple, fast paced, action packed, and there is it's easy to learn, but it's hard to master, right? Like, I'm still figuring things out. If you're looking for that sort of experience, like you said, Unreal Tournament, Quake, like Halo 3 multiplayer. Like, if you're looking for that type of experience, Solaris is your game. It's really the only choice right now in that very specific niche, but it is, in a community, is great, and the developers are working, and they're working with us, and they are aware of us, and they talk to us, and so it's a good time to get in now. If you can sort of if you're okay with navigating some issues right now, for the long-term investment of, wow, this game could be absolutely huge in the future. What do you got, Greasy?
I think right now, if you are a new player, is probably the best time to come into the game. The reason I say that is that, like Sonar was saying, like you all have said, a lot of the issues are for the higher level players right now. So if I was a new player, that these couple weeks right here until they come out with an update, I think is a really valuable time, because a lot of the higher level people, myself included, for better or worse, are just not really on in these public lobbies right now. So you will be finding a lot of fresh players. So you will be able to play against them, learn at the same speed and the same time as each other, which is what made those early days on the game so amazing. Nobody had any idea what was going on besides, okay, we're going to go here, capture the point, and try and figure it out together. And I do think that it's kind of a unique opportunity right now for the game where you are kind of getting this second genesis of players. One, because you are seeing discounts on the store, this, that, the other thing, but also just some of the issues that are making it that the higher level players aren't running to get on every hour of every day, which will be fixed down the line. But for right now, as a new player to learn the game and get the hang of it, I think now there's no better time really to come in and check it out. You'll get into a game quickly because of that quick matchmaking. So you will be able to go back to back to back to back, hopefully not get blown out by really high levels on the other side, and organically just learn the process. One thing I love about the game is that a new player and a veteran have nothing separating them on the hollow field except skill. There's nothing that you can equip, that you can wear, that will give you any sort of in-game advantage. You all have access to the same weapons. You have access to the same amount of health, the same shields. You're on an incredibly level playing field, unless it's 4v1 or 4v2.
Right.
If you have the same level of people on each side, you're on an incredibly level playing field, with the only thing differentiating you being skill. So I do think while it is easy to pick up and hard to master, like you said, it is right now probably a great time to get in and check it out, because you will be able to organically learn that game. So if anybody's on the fence about it, I do think now is a great time. And by the time they come out with new updates and really get all the smaller issues that really aren't like game breaking, unless you are going in as a squad right now, once they get that fixed, I mean, you'll be up their skill level and you'll be ready to go. You can even start your own team. So I think at this point, the community is ripe to grow. And I'd say come for the game, stay for the community, because even if the game itself is having issues at one time or another, like we've been talking about here, people are seeing each other outside of the game and, just enjoying their time in VR. So I think that would be my recommendation. I'd still go for Solaris. Not saying the other games aren't good, but I do think there's something here that is a little bit intangible.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good summary of that for sure. All right. A final question is, let's fast forward a year from now, and let's just assume best case scenario and everything. Let's assume a successful PSVR launch, and that community comes and joins ours, and the player base quadruples, and everything goes smoothly. All right. What's one feature in a year from now? Let's try to imagine what Solaris could look like in our perfect world. So what are one or two things you would like to see added to Solaris that, aren't short-term fixes, long-term things that wouldn't change the essence of the game, but would make it that much more playable or incentivized or just more vibrant? So of course, I'm not saying we don't want to add things that would completely break the game or make it not Solaris anymore. Like you mentioned, dual wielding. Probably because of the PSVR thing, that's not going to happen. Or we don't really want probably some. I was playing with some kid in the lobby and he said it would be cool if this was a battle royale. I'm like, no. I'm like, get off now. Go play Fortnite. So like, what are some things that you would like to see in Solaris long term goals that could make this game even better? What do you think, Bus? Let's start with you.
Squatting with PSVR, because I know they said that they weren't going to have that at release. And I have some friends who play on PSVR, and it's like, hey, I'll sell you my old headset for like $100, and they're like, no, I will stick with my PSVR. And I was like, all right, and so being able to squat with them would be nice.
Okay, yeah, that might be that might be more difficult than I think it is in my mind, but yeah, that could be something that we would absolutely like to see for sure. What do you think, Sonar?
So one small thing I think would be cool that's been mentioned is adding skins to the other weapons aside from the pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be a really easy thing for them to do, and they
Mm-hmm.
could add lots of skins for every weapon. And another thing I thought would be cool would be when you squad up and you're doing a scrim, maybe you could all squad up in the same screen. That way you can see if somebody drops out, stuff like
Yeah.
that, and you can
Okay.
start at the same time with one button.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Greasy? What do you got?
One that hopefully is around the corner, a mute button would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's just some toxic members that make their way into games, and I will say that's one thing that has not happened to me a ton in this game. I've not really had issues where, like, if I'm in a rec room or something and I just want to take my headset and throw it across the street. Have not had those same experiences really in Solaris, which is another major positive. Like I said, the community is really the biggest thing keeping this game going right now. And I guess getting back to another feature I'd like to see, and I did mention this in the Discord briefly, but with the comeback mechanic that they have as it is now, where you're down by X number of points, you get a gun, whatever. One thing that I would like to see, although I'm not sure if they'd implement it, is if you are in that position, can you select like a preference or like a gun that you would get first when you are behind? Like sometimes I'll be spawning and I'll get a shotgun and I'm like, cool, I don't really want a shotgun right now. I'd love if this was an AR where I could, attack the point from a distance and,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So one cool feature, have like a class or like some preference when you're behind. Okay, here you'll get this as your comeback loadout or something.
Okay.
That definitely takes away a bit from what I was saying before, where everybody's on the same playing field. But at a certain point, I mean, the comeback mechanic is supposed to give one team an edge. So
Right.
that wouldn't be the core gameplay.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I have a big one, and that's so I come from a little bit of background. I was a almost exclusively a Destiny player for years. I played Destiny at launch. I actually was one of the alpha testers, and when they had an alpha 2-day alpha test, then I did the beta, and then I played Destiny 1, Destiny 2. So, but I stopped playing because I got tired of grinding. I realized, hey, I'm just wasting my life grinding to get these weapons. And anyways, long story short. There's two things that I loved from Destiny that I could immediately see working here. The small one is more skins, like we were saying, but so more. I want more carrots to chase. Destiny was great at giving you a carrot to chase. You unlock this certain thing, or Destiny had this thing where it had random drops at the end of matches. And so I thought, what if you had certain like exotic skins that only drop to like a 2% drop rate, and if you keep playing you just have that chance that at the end screen, Bus got the exotic skin, is like, and it's like super rare, that kind of stuff. Or people in the community have talked about, is there a way to get our team logos like on our character somewhere? Can we up some? I know that's probably like a nightmare as far as like doing that. How would you submit it and stuff? But yeah, it'd be cool to run in with my Mad Reapers logo on my guy, that would be super cool. But the real big feature I'd love to see in Destiny, they had what was called the Tower, which was this social space, and it was very complicated. So this would not have to be that complicated. But what if when you fired up Solaris, instead of just waiting in the start screen where you select your items, you logged in and you could be with 20 other players or whatever in a space station or something, and you could walk around and see them, and you could squad up from in there, or you could just talk with voice chat or whatever. Because I can't tell you how many times, like when you go on your Oculus, it tells you, oh, Greasy's online playing Solaris, but it doesn't tell me, is he in a match, is he just waiting for people? Like, so, and if I send somebody a message, hey, I want to play, it doesn't show up on your screen. So they got to go in their Oculus, check their notifications. And there's been times where people have messaged me and wanted to play, but I never got the message until I logged off because I couldn't see it. So like, it'd be cool if there's a social space. Okay, everybody, we're getting on at 9, and I'll hop in the social space. You can squad up from in there and like talk logistics, and like maybe like, I don't know, you could have stuff to do, like some games, like a little basketball hoop or something, like something stupid, shoot a target range, or like just like a cool social space to hang out pre-game or post-game or whatever. I know that's a that's a big thing, but I can kind of vision that in the future, that kind of stuff. And I used to be all against microtransactions. Like I used to hate them. But there are some games that do them in a way where it's like, hey, it allows me to continue to support this developer and give, I can purchase items that have no impact on the game whatsoever, whatever it could be. So I would be willing to support something like that in the future. If there was, I don't know, Population One has some cool stuff with that too. So, so anyways, yeah, so we all, of course, love this game, and we just want to see it be the best it can be. And we think that there's some cool stuff. And it is a good time to start in. If you're brand new, there's a good time to start because a lot of the veteran players, a lot of the level 50s are playing scheduled matches for practice and not necessarily just running public matches. So this is a great time to jump in if you're considering it. So, okay, that's it. That's all I have for this week. And does anyone have any closing comments they want to make?
Yeah, I guess just keep your eyes out. This, like I mentioned in the last podcast, is available everywhere. Anywhere you are getting your podcast, you can find this one. So keep your eyes out. Ask Alexa, ask Google. It should be able to play it for you. And yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys this week. Anybody else have anything?
I agree with T. Baggins. If you want to buy a skin to look like a bedazzled zebra, you should be able to do that. It doesn't affect gameplay. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yeah. The first time I asked Alexa to play the Solaris Community Podcast, it was awesome hearing that. I just did it because Greasy said it was going to be coming soon, and I was just sitting there eating my breakfast, and I said, "Hey, Alexa, play the Solaris Community Podcast." And all of a sudden I heard my voice. I'm like, so it was cool. It's a little interesting being able to hear your voice on the Alexa device or other devices. So do all the things, subscribe, definitely leave comments. That really helps get more reach. Jump in the Discord Solaris podcast and drop your this is where we can talk about the podcast, give opinions and so forth. Now that we've had every sort of regular person on the podcast, we're going to be looking to start scheduling some interviews. Now, Sonar, you're in the Navy, correct?
Yes.
So you're going to be sort of intermittently on the show because you've got your time on duty. So I was thinking that we could, I'll work with you offline, and we'll figure out when you're going to be available and not. And the weeks that you're not going to be available, I'd like to get a guest in so that we can keep 4. I think 4 is a good number. Any more than 4, it might get kind of busy. So if you are watching this and you want to be a part of the podcast, if you want to have a guest spot, you can either DM me or we can start a conversation in the podcast area of the Discord, and we can get some guests in. I've already got a few guests on a list ready to go, so we're really excited to see more people in this podcast. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, we will see you on the Holofield.